because I bet you what you want to sew is already in your closet. So what I'm going to do is quickly make myself an outfit to wear out tonight. We're just going to take this dress and use it as our pattern. I'm taking a dress. This is what it looks like. It's a t-shirt dress from Maglan's. I just love how fitted it is, but more importantly, I just like where the sleeves are cut. The benefit of being able to sew is you're always gonna be able to make your outfit, and it doesn't even have to be hard. I want to make a knit dress with sleeves and like a backless cutout. It shouldn't take me more than an hour to make. This is the fabric I'm using. It's super stretchy and it's got these pretty glitter in it. I have laid the dress out. I did it so that you can kind of see like the stripes are going this way because I want it to look longer. I just am laying it out on the fabric single because I'm only going to cut out the front right now with seam allowance, and then I'm just going to cut it around like this. I'm going to fold the sleeves in and cut it like that. I also laid down a measuring tape down the front of the dress so that I can see how long I want it, and right now I'm going to have it at 27 inches. That's a mini skirt.
Say hello to my dog Plum. She likes to assist sometimes. I'm carefully cutting along the garment I chose to trace, adding in 3/8 of an inch for seam allowance. When you've been sewing for as long as I have, you can now eyeball the seam allowances, but feel free to use a ruler and chalk it up. The amount of sewing you actually do is very small in comparison to the prep work. As much as I hate how tedious this part could be, the better the prep work, the easier the sewing. Cutting is hands down my least favorite part of sewing. It makes the project feel so final. Like once you cut into the fabric, you're officially committed to finishing. But we all know the truth. We have that incomplete pile that we keep lying to ourselves and saying that we'll come back to, but we really don't.
Here is that I snipped it at where the midway point is, because now I'm just going to fold the fabric in half and copy what I just did. So this is how much I've got cut out so far. So let's go down 27, kind of just go over at 27. Let's remove everything. And so now I have a point here, and we're just going to fold it in half. I got lucky with my fabric, and it's like it has these lines that I'm using as the grain line. I'm just gonna try to make sure everything's smooth as possible, and then I'm just gonna cut following my template. That was where I cut it, and that's why I'm folding it. And I kind of feel like I messed up because I'm gonna cross our fingers and hope this works out because the hip is looking a little narrow, so I'm getting a little nervous. I forgot to start recording. That's the hem of the skirt, and now we're just gonna cut along this.
Cutting is also really demanding on your wrist, especially if you're using regular scissors. If you can, I do highly recommend using electric scissors or a rotary cutter to reduce strain.
I'm not really sure why I didn't cut it twice, but now we're just gonna cut it 2 times. I just wasn't thinking. I'm going for the back. I am gonna curve it just because I want the back to be a bit longer so my butt isn't out. So we're just gonna do that, like kind of like a swoop shape. And I'm using the first piece that I did. I'm using a garment, again, I already had with a sleeve that I like, except I marked the midway point of the sleeve because I want the sleeves to flare out a little bit. So I folded the fabric in half because the sleeve should be one wide piece. And again, I'm gonna eyeball this part, fold it over at the seams to get that arm side. That's roughly what the arm side should look like. Again, not really cutting exact, just around. And this is the midway point, so this is kind of where the elbow is. So I kind of want it to flare out from here. And now we have our sleeve piece. Gotta cut one more of it. I have the second sleeve ready to cut. I'm using the original one as the pattern for it, and I'm just gonna quickly cut that out as well.
We are halfway through the video and I've only been cutting.
This one I'm following more exactly, with the sides going up. Once you studied pattern making enough, you kind of know what your pieces should look like. And there you go, we have 2 sleeves now. This is the 2 dress piece I have, with the back being a little bit longer. So now I have my dress and my sleeve. It took me so much longer to get this project started than it has been to make the dress, because it's only been like 30 minutes. It just took longer because I was walking you guys through it. Now that we have our dress piece, make sure it's right sides facing together. It's always hard with knits to tell which way is the right side and the wrong side. So you're gonna pull right sides together, and we're just gonna stitch both shoulder seams. I'm gonna just serge it. For the sleeve, it always just helps me to mark the middle of the sleeve with like a pin, because that part is what lines up to the shoulder seam that we just sewed. I'm just gonna mark the halfway point of my sleeve, and then I'm gonna take the shoulder seam and mash it up to that. The seam allowance should be pushed towards the back. What I mean is this seam allowance here should be pushed towards the back this way. So now the sleeve is sewn into the dress, as you can see. Now it's time for us to do the other side. Both the sleeves are now on the dress, and we're just gonna sew underneath the arm on both sides. Our dress was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seams, and we're done. Again, just make sure everything is right sides together, and you wanna line up that seam with the seam allowance pressed towards the hem of your sleeve, and just pin it so the seam allowance can stay down. Now I'm turning the dress inside out. We have a dress, guys. Okay. This is honestly like my favorite part, is putting it on the dress form and seeing how it all came together. Sewing honestly doesn't have to be that hard. Okay, and she's kind of snatched, which is what I want. I want it to be really fitted. I'm a little bit nervous about the length. My dresses are always so short. I forget that I'm also not the tallest. I need to make sure this is lined up perfectly because I'm cutting out the back. I love a good backless dress. Damn, it's giving more like a fitted dress. I want it to be more flowy at the bottom, but it's okay. It's okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that the seams are lined up and that everything's just straight. Here's the back of the dress.
This is a knit fabric, so as you can see, while I'm cutting, it is pulling back without the tension holding it together. So take that into account when you do cutouts like this, because it might end up being a little bit too wide like my back was.
We're just gonna fold it over and finish it all the way around. All the raw edges.
And this here was the majority of the sewing I did for this dress. Like I said before, we do more prep and finishing work than we do actual sewing.
You on? The only thing is it's a little sheer, so we're going to have to edit that.
My solution is to add a second layer of the same fabric on the top and a cutout silhouette so that it looks more strategic and it covers what it needs to. And here's the final dress.